yesterday, and today they were moving around really well. We were moving fast. So you just kind of point forward. We're 49 hours away from kickoff, so it's coming. So the guys are thinking that way.
What's kind of like an example of it? I mean, you adjust the schedule, you adjust workloads, that sort of stuff?
All the above. Yeah, the schedule obviously has to change. Workloads change. I think the mental stuff is packed in more than it would be. Everything just gets packed in more. There's not as much physical. There's not as much fast moving. There's some, but most of it is just condensed.
John, I know right now you're kind of locked in on this one game, but when the schedule came out and you kind of look at this stretch, were you concerned at all? They're the premier teams in the NFL playing on this day. I mean, were you concerned about the well-being of players kind of leading up to?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, I am, but I'm not, because it doesn't matter. We have to think about focusing on putting our best effort out there and playing well. That's what our guys will be thinking about, and they'll be ready to go. So we'll be ready to play. And one thing about our team is we are in really good shape. Our team is in great condition. Our team recovers very quickly, and that's documented by measurable factors. We recover quickly, so I think they'll be ready to go. I believe fully they'll be ready to go Wednesday night.
Coach, last week both Marlon and Zach Orr used the word stabilized to describe what Kyle Hamilton's impact has been since he's been moved. Just how beneficial is it to have a guy like that who can just be moved anywhere and have that kind of impact?
So beneficial. It's a great word for it. I mean, he's the premier. The great players probably can do two things. They can do pretty much everything in football, in their area, and they make everybody around them better. And I really do think Kyle is growing into one of those kind of players. It's expressed itself the last 2 years, but really in this year and then in the last month, it's really expressed itself because, you might think in terms, well, he's a box guy, he's close to the line of scrimmage type of player, which he is, and maybe he was even viewed that way coming out in the draft, but yet. He felt like he could play off. He felt like he could play. He played deep well at Notre Dame, and we always thought he could do it. But you say, okay, well, this is our best player in the back end, maybe, and certainly one of the best players in the league at safety. And our issues are deep, so let's put him back there. And he goes back there and seamlessly, makes a big difference. So that's probably a good measuring stick for a great player.
John, with such a condensed schedule, do you have to simplify the game plan, offensively, defensively, anything of that nature, just due to the time restriction you have?
Well, you're probably not putting in. You're going to have a few new things because you try to get in front of that and have those things practiced already. We're not practicing anything brand new this week. Things that might be new that we haven't done in games before, so things that have been practiced before. So you try to do it that way.
John, with Lamar, you talked about how really excellent he's been. We've seen it with tight window throws, manipulation of defenders, and so forth. How would you kind of describe, I guess, the subtleties of the strides he's taken yet again in the season?
I really think he's really a young player still in the sense it's 7 years now. Quarterbacks, everybody plays long. Quarterbacks play a long time now, so it's what you would expect from a diligent, talented player who works at it. So kind of in every area you hope that a player would continue to grow, and I think he just kind of grows in every area as we go. The whole tree line is getting higher. Across the board, and you see it in all those things you talked about.
Potential to play the Texans again in the postseason, does that come into the calculus of what you want to show on film against them at all, or is that not a priority?
Not a priority. You try to win the game. There's plenty of things that we can come up with for the next game. That would be the next iterations of whatever we're doing. So no, everything we can think of that's good, we're going to try to do it.
I guess along the same lines, we've reached the point in the year where fans are asking us about all the playoff scenarios, and there's a lot of chatter about that right now. Do you have to be aware of those at all, or does it really not help you going into these games?
You have to be aware of it. I mean, I pretty much know the scenarios to a degree, the ones that matter. And then I think you need to know it as a head coach going into a game regarding ties. Like, what do you want to play for? If it comes to that, do we want to? How does a tie versus a loss versus a win benefit us if it would ever come to that?
John, Desmond King, obviously, since he's been your returner, has had some dynamic plays, but also ball security issues last game. What's the thinking on returner going into this game?
Right, he'll be our returner going into the game. We also have Tylen, though, and Dez has been a secure guy his whole career and had been with us, the first few games. I really anticipate he'll do well. But obviously it's got to be better than that. He knows that. He's the first guy that, he was talking to me during the game about it. So he knows that, and that's priority one. I learned that from Andy Reid way back when I was special teams coach. You want to get that game breaker, but he said the first thing is always going to be a punt catcher. We got to get a catcher first, and that's you got to catch the ball. So that's priority one.
Saturday after the game, you mentioned how special it is this time of the year. So I know that the goal is to still go 1-0, but how special is it for you to be playing a game on Christmas Day?
Yeah, it's just as special as it was last year. Maybe even more so because it's twice. But it is meaningful. I mean, it's meaningful because, if I'm going to talk about it in those kind of terms and spiritual terms, it's a chance to bring glory on a glorious day. I would say, an opportunity to kind of shine in that way, before men, and. A lot of people are going to be watching, so we want to put our best foot forward and do it the right way.
Do you guys celebrate Christmas at all as a team, like the night before or after the game? Do you have anything planned?
We actually had a team dinner last night here, which was really neat, and our chefs were incredible what they put out there. So that was fun, and we're going to have the ability for family members from that Houston area to come over for the team snack after we do a walkthrough tomorrow night.
Coach, after the bye week, you said you all started to look ahead at these games during that time off. Have you found that to be helpful now that you're in the midst of this condensed schedule?
Absolutely, because we were able to come off a game where we were all completely 100% focused on Pittsburgh. Then the next morning, we have to have practice schedules and game plan plays ready because we're going to practice them that afternoon. So much of that was already lined up for us with the pre-work that we did during the bye week on the Texans. So, yeah, I feel good about that.
Johnny, a pretty big concert at halftime of your game. Was the locker room soundproof?
Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't there a time when somebody was out, like, peeking outside the locker room door to Super Bowl or something like that? Was there some story on that?
Yeah.
Who was it?
McPherson, the Bengals kicker, wasn't
Was it the Bengals kicker?
I think he got some trouble for that.
He got in trouble for it?
he? Came out of the locker room.
Yeah, there'll be trouble. There'll be big trouble. I like Beyonce, though. I can't say I'm a huge Beyonce fan, but I think I like her. Is she doing country now?
Yes.
She's doing a little country now?
Yeah,
Think some of those country songs will be in there?
Probably.
Oh.
In Texas, yeah.
Check it out. You'll have to report to me on that.
She played the halftime when you won the Super Bowl. I mean, how could you not pick her, right?
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh. That's good to know.
Someone blamed her for the power outage. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really? I do remember that now. Focus.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks.